Hello there, beloved Ascension Pioneers, and welcome to another one of my Ascension updates. And in this video, I would really like to focus on explaining through the higher realms, through the higher truth of one, the deeper meaning behind the Grand Cardinal Cross, which is now being activated. So many astrologers and people who do numerology and all kinds of stuff, and they're sharing publicly with everybody, are sharing a lot about this and what this alignment means, and everybody's doing it on their own way, in their own way and in their own soul level of understanding. But yesterday, after my run, I was just sitting there on my space, and I was just thinking about this, how this actually has a really simple meaning in the basics, and because I like to share things in a very timely manner, which means that it's interactive, whenever you're tuning into it's perfect for what your soul needs to understand at this time. A lot of people, come to my path and they say, sometimes I hear this a lot, that they love what I share, they don't always understand everything, because understanding is very linear when you think of it, Recently I share a lot about light language and receiving through, like I said, this interactive flow when everything is wave, it's spiraling. So whatever you receive, it's when it's an inner understanding, that's when it's integrated from within. So it flows through you, and I can just share as Spirit shows me. So how I'm guided on my path is through simplicity of truth. That is, it's not always so complex as many astrologers share, which, like I say, nothing bad with that, but it's just a different approach. Creation can be as complex and as simple as you see it. So I like to share my perspectives in a way that make you see things through simplicity and in the beauty of life and the divine perfection in creation. So I wish to further emphasize on this Grand Cardinal Cross, because a lot of people don't even know what it means. They just hear something, astrologers say we have this Grand Cardinal Cross and it's intense. And so what we do a lot of times when we just follow what other people are saying or sharing, we say, oh my gosh, it's intense. And we don't even know what that means for us. So it's very basic that we go deep within, we see the awareness that wants to come through. And what kind of relevance does this have for our lives anyway? So I'll try to do this simple explanation, and I want to also share a short light activation so that we form this cross in our own inner awareness, because it's an integration of polarities within us. And then how this will be manifested, co-created within, from within to without. And I also want to address a question. I want to answer a question that I was recently asked by one of my divine companions, because it also concerns astrology and these different aspects. So I want to include it in the video, because recently I just have too much, to always share personally via email and those questions. So this is what I want to do in this video. And let's start with the beginning, with explaining what this Grand Cardinal Cross, what it really represents, kind of like in the grand scheme of things, how when you look at creation, how everything, forms, and how everything is birthed through something deeper. And when we see the reflections of that in our own lives, when we get that depth and we get those profound meanings, not just by superficially, following what somebody else is saying, when we get it straight from the divine, this is when it's strongest and it can be the most potent in our lives. And is how we form our realities at this time. So what does this really represent on the higher level, and how to benefit most of that energy, from that energy? That is why I wish to share this. I just made this kind of like a chart. It's nothing like that. It's just to help you understand, because, for example, some people have really no idea what this is about. And even I, because I don't deal with astrology, I just know about the archetypes, and whenever I hear something, I only take the simple bits and pieces from it, but then I get spirit guidance myself. What does this really mean for me? What is the crucial element that I'm taking and implementing in my lives, and all the rest you leave behind? What doesn't resonate? What's not important in your path? Otherwise, it's just kind of how do I say this? It's not really helping your flow of co-creation. It's just a projection of something that appears to be. It's not what it really is, and then you drag it along, and it somehow influences you from the mind aspect. Like I gave an example with this intensity. People like to say it's intense, it's going to be challenging, it's going to be all of those things. Well, it doesn't matter, because it matters what it will be for you. But only your inner soul can tell you where you are right now in your expansion and how you can benefit from it. But I'm going to give you like a simple explanation so you can know what it means in the deeper truth. So when you have a Grand Cardinal Cross, it means two things. It means that it forms that four, cross is always like four 4 angles, 4 points that are linked together. So there's 4 different planets building those points, and they're aligned in a way that they form a square. And the square can be like different shapes, and when it is most exact, most like a square, it's going to be when it's most activated in how we see it from the earthly perspective and how we feel it from within when we're embodying those shifts. Because everything that's an external alignment and all the constellations and everything, it's also felt from within us. And the more open we are and tuning into that and feeling it, the more we will just be realizing that in our daily lives. So why it's called there's a beautiful bumblebee just visiting my daffodil flowers. You can see them, they're here growing all around me. And so you have 4 planets, and all of these planets that are now forming the square are in the cardinal signs. What does this mean? My mother, for example, she didn't have no idea. I asked her, do you know what the cardinal signs are? Because her sun is in a cardinal sign of Aries, which we're now in. Our sun is now in Aries. And all these planets are now in these signs, and these are the signs that are pivotal in starting a certain season, and this is connected with the cycles of life and creation. So for example, you have all these 4 cardinal signs, like Libra starts the energy, Aries starts the energy of spring. This is when the astrological year begins. Then you have Cancer that begins the summer. I'm talking about the northern hemisphere though. And then Libra is the sort of the fall, the season of the autumn. Then the Capricorn is the start of the winter. So these are the cardinal signs, and these are always connected with the first ray of change. And that's why everybody's talking about the change on a global level and the earthly plane, and all these transformation, because there's certain planets that are really connected with that and how they are formated and interdependent, interlinked between each other, why they form such a position that's actually meant to trigger immense change. And change can only come from inner personal transformation that takes place first within, through our soul awareness. There is no outer change if you don't really understand what the change is about. Remember, it is not what we do, it is how we do it, how much through awareness, how much pondering, how much focused thought there is behind it. And I'm talking about the higher mind here and alignment with the higher heart. And this is what this Grand Cardinal Cross alignment is all about, because when you have a square, pardon me, that was a really poor square I just showed. When you have a square, it literally shows the divine alignment of the cross, which means, it's been associated a lot with Christed consciousness. But not just that, we had a lot of manipulation being shared about the cross and being nailed to the cross, and like cross is bad. But in a sense, the cross, in the ancient knowing, it always represented the exact merging of the physical, the matter, and the spirit, and which is ethereal. So during such a rare alignment, which is really here when there's a pivotal shift of the ages happening, and this takes place all the way to 2015, although changes are going to be beyond that. But this is like first initial change. That's why these are cardinal signs. So which planets, let me first mention a bit about this, which planets are then in these signs? So you have, let's start with the Aries, which is, the beginning. We have Uranus in Aries, Uranus is all about that higher change, those higher initiatives, the higher mind, things that just need to shift from the higher perspective. And this is now Aries, this is action, this is really important. So Cancer, we have Jupiter is in Cancer. So Jupiter is a planet of expansion, of moving beyond the comfort zone. It's that teacher, it's that spiritual guru inside of us, it's that inner master, and exploration, and just seeking those different realms of experiences. And for example, my ruling planet is Jupiter, because my rising sun, my ascendant, is Sagittarius, which is a fire sign, and our ruling planet will usually be the one that we have our ascendant in. So for me, this is Jupiter. And then we have Libra. And Mars is in Libra. Mars is usually a planet of drive, ambition, action. Now it's in Libra. It's very much about balancing. So that inner, which is that interdependent, that self-dependent, also becoming interdependent through relationships, and relying on the co-creation of all of us. Because Mars rules Aries, so Aries is all about that first birth of our individuality, of our uniqueness, me, what am I gonna do and achieve and experience? But it's in Libra, so Libra is a part of that forms that inner harmony. Then we have the Capricorn, and in Capricorn we have Saturn. Saturn is a planet of that transformation through becoming master co-creators, through the awareness of responsibility, of that change through just being responsible, being sovereign, being aware. So this is really important, and you have that cross. And what this cross represents is that now, because it's going to be most exact, and this is when we will have the most exact opportunity for that expansion. And what does it mean? Because I mentioned the word balancing of the inner polarities. So all these aspects, if you look at them like that, these are your inner archetypes. So you have your cycles, but not just that. As we flow with the cycles of nature and of change, these also represent the number 4, because they're building a square. So a square is always about the earthly principle, 4 basic elements. That you have the earth, fire, water, and air. And the square, the number 4, is the physical number. It's that, what do we wish to really become in the physical? How are we going to mirror our divinity here in the earth? And this is how I see it. How are we going to really walk our destined highest soul path? How are we going to answer our soul calling in the deepest and most profound way? A lot of people are still trying to stay hidden behind the scenes and not really wanting to expand beyond that comfort zone, be that teacher that you are, the way shower, the pillar for change. So for me, it's all about being that pillar. It's like a gateway. And also, a lot of numerologists are saying that this month is about the 11 universal month. And 11 is that, pillar. It's that mastering ourselves and our experiences. But for me, what it came through spirit is how to become a master pillar of creation within all that is. And these 4 earthly levels, which I said, earth, fire, water, and air, how to merge those polarities within you and become one with all. And this always symbolizes the element of the 5th, and the birth of the 5th element, which is the ether, your inner spirit, your inner awareness. And to embody that highest divine potential and usher in heaven on earth. This is how I call it. You can call it your inner paradise, your highest divine potential, bringing those energies of the highest realms here and embodying them on all aspects of your being. So this is the frequency of the inner Christ, the cross. When you're really, really standing in between those spots, but you're like I drew here in the middle point. We're always in that middle point. That perfect middle point is the absolute. And everything that's happening externally, it's not just happening, but we are the pillar that governs, that ushers those experiences. We're navigating them, nobody else. So the symbol of the square, how Spirit shows me, is like a perfect alignment of heaven and earth and merging of the spirit and matter. And basically, whatever we perceive this change to be, it is also a very simple explanation of what it really is. And it depends on which level you're tuning into it. But it's always going to be, about what it is at that core principle truth. So it might sound like just words, okay, now how to become this pillar, how to really master inner polarities. So this is where the part of challenge is, this is what the astrologers talk about, that pivotal point for changing your life. Now's the opportunity to do it. Are you going to wake up or not? All those things that they talk about, this is how it comes into play. Through these experiences, there is no other way, because it is all about experience. So through these experiences, it is how it comes through. There is no such thing as one recipe. But the moment you are aware, when you really get it, what it means on a higher aspect of being, when you don't just tune into just what everybody else is saying and all the chit-chattering, that's happening and all the information, you're just being overflooded with it. When you really move deeply within you and ask yourself, what does it mean for me? And how, not like it's a goal or a destination, but how right now in this moment, what is most beneficial, most important on my journey for me to anchor that? Okay, so moving further on, I wish to, because it's in alignment with this, I wish to address this topic which I was asked about astrology, because a divine companion asked me, okay, how do you find an astrologer that it's also spiritual indeed, that it's not just tuning into the to the more external realms when they perceive astrology and events as something that's happening outside of you, and how do you know who's the real astrologer and who's going to draw your chart? And basically, how do I answer this question? There's no such thing as just one answer. You know that, right, by now? It's first, what I would do first is move deep within. I would ask myself, do I really need one? And then you would just see if you're really guided, it would happen naturally. If you really feel, if that's on your soul path, it will come. You wouldn't need to seek an astrologer or somebody who will assist you, in that way. But it will come. You don't seek for something. You just intend, and you feel something is for you, and then it appears because you already manifested from within. So if it's a necessary component on your journey, it will come. Okay, so this is really important. That's the first question, to really see what's the desire of the ego, what's just something you feel you need, or it's something that you truly need, which will be supported by spirit anyway. So the second aspect, I was also asked about why do astrologers need your birth data if we're already being influenced by everything that's happening now, with the, something is like poking me. It's really weird. I think it's the grass. Sensations are like spiky. It's really weird feeling. So the question was about, why do they need all these birth data if we already are influenced in and out through everything that's happening now? So the birth data, when you have, for example, your chart, you don't need an astrologer to draw your chart. It's free online. There's many different programs and web pages that provide that. What you can do is you can do it yourself, and then just look if you're receiving anything from spirit, or if you really feel somebody's going to assist you with that, if you're interested in that aspect. But it has to deal with, our birth chart is always the divine potential that we are born into. The journey, through all the, which astrologers call, I think, progress charts, that we have the natal chart and then we have the progress charts. And it's all about how we then move through the journey, through those different transitions we're going through. We have soul transitions and planetary support or challenges. There are different aspects. Maybe we have more supportive energy or more challenging energy. It depends what we need to expand into. But the fact that's really important here is whether we just flow with these changes naturally and trust in the guidance of our soul, or do we also, it depends, want a more mentally based approach, that we want to know, where we're shifting instead of just feeling. A lot of people need that confirmation, which is fine. It depends what you're like. I'm not judging anything. Everything is just an experience. But for example, some people like me, we don't need that. I never looked for an astrologer. I never wanted my chart to go them. But it was really funny that even before my awakening began, and when I started to remember things myself through spirit, there were just people coming in my life, like random companions at that time being. And they're like, oh, I'm doing charts, let me do yours. And they just came and give me different details, information, even if they're not professional readers, because what's the word professional anyway? It's really relative, right? So they just gave me those bits and pieces of information that I needed. I was never seeking anything. So that's the whole purpose of it. It's everything comes when you need it the most. But that is how it was on my journey. Yours might be different. I'm not comparing anything here. So it really depends, why, it's important to know why you're asking that question. Are you guided? Do you really feel maybe you yourself want to tune into astrology, you want to expand, you want to have a deeper understanding of the planetary effects and co-creation with us and how this is, and this is not a part of your journey, because everything will be known to you by your inner drive, what pulls you, what motivates you. For me, I just get bits and pieces, and then I create my own kind of like fractal imaging of what spirit shows me, and it's my way. And for example, I even had these companions that were astrologers. Well, they called themselves that, we are divine love. But what I mean is they were working with astrology aspects. And I remember I did a reading, and I shared some things, and they always said like, oh, this is exactly what we're looking now in the charts, and it's like whatever you share, it's in alignment. It's because I receive straight through spirit, but this is my channel. This is how, because I don't focus on things just on this realm, and now I always focus on that big picture. And a lot of the people, even when I do spirit readings, they like, how do you know this is happening for me? This is what I'm expanding into, because they already feel it. Sometimes you just maybe need a push or a confirmation on a support, energetic, or support through awareness. But I just share because Spirit shows me. It's really that obvious to me what's happening. And if we're more based on feeling, we won't need that. If we're more, for example, a lot of people have more mental energy, even in their charts. Probably, it's all in alignment. We won't need that. We will just flow because we're already receiving everything, through Spirit, and then it grounds and it anchors into Mother Earth. And we get synchronicity messages. We just know how to read from all that is. Some people read maybe only through astrology. Some people maybe read only through oracle cards. But it's the same energy that actually makes you do the reading. Even an astrologer, they might draw the chart, but they need an awareness how to read it. So if you are looking for an astrologer, what I recommend is, like I said, you can't know, okay, this person is coming from that perspective. They have soul awareness expanded to this and that level. It doesn't go like that. You need to feel that. So if you feel a connection to somebody who's sharing their updates in a way that's very much in resonance with your heart, then this is what it pulls you towards. And it's just a matter of how you will come to that in perfect divine timing. So everybody, even the readers, will read on their level of awareness. It depends what they're tuning into. Somebody might give you a more superficial understanding, while somebody's going to go into depth. But this is all, like I said, even if it would be superficial, would be what you would need at that timing. Because when we have the understanding that everything comes to you perfectly when you need it, as you need it the most, this is perfect flow, and this is how divine guidance works. So it works. Spirit works through us. All the messengers, I get messages from the flowers. I get messages from how the wind blows. I get messages from everything. I can't explain this, but that's natural to me. I tune into all that is. That's why I call it all that is. So that's what my guidance is based on. It's not just based on divination tools or things like that. But these might come as a part of that messages which you're sharing. So this is the difference, and this is what I wanted to share. So if you just feel that you already have that within you, you don't need it. And if it's just mental, like, I'm wondering why this is so, why these people share that way. If it's just like that, a gentle curiosity, I'm wondering, it's just might be that you're seeking greater awareness of how Spirit comes through, the guidance. It doesn't necessarily mean you need an astrologer now, or, you need to analyze your chart. In truth, nobody needs to analyze anything. We just need to feel everything as it is in the now. Because the only reason why we do that is because we don't have that full trust that there's so many channels, and it will come what we need through a perfect channel at that time, at the time being. So, yes, this is what I wanted to share. And I invite you now to kind of close your eyes for a while, or just take a few deep breaths. And now let's focus back on that square, okay? On that energy of the square. And let's just feel all the outer external region points that are building the square. Let's just see that square perfectly in front of our eyes. And now let's also see that middle point. And let's move into that middle point, which is the point of the absolute. And now let's also form or imagine an infinity symbol that flows through that same exact middle point and intersects that square. And let us now just visually and mentally and spiritually and through feeling merge them as one. And we feel that we can tune into the realm of our infinite, eternal self. And in the square, which focuses only on a certain aspect of creation. For example, right here, right now, this earth. And let us be still in that knowing that whatever is perfect from whichever perspective we're coming from. And let us just call in our sacred inner polarities mastered as one. And we feel how we're walking through anything as a strong pillar and embodiment of divine love. That we hold the space for divine light to enter and flow through us at all time, uninterruptedly, always in flow, always in divine perfection and symmetry. And that is all we need to do. And we feel how we master all of our inner aspects. Our feeling side of life, which is the water, the emotion, the flow. Our mental perceptions, our cognitive thinking, our divine structure and logic, the divine intelligence through the air, the mind aspect. And then the earth aspect, the groundedness, a sense of physical pleasure, of physical senses, of embodiment, of touching Mother Earth, of being present on Mother Earth, and feeling all other creation as one with our planet. And then moving through an aspect of fire, the drive, the internal and external and infinite expansion, self-mastery, the freedom of being. Let's also move into that. Let's see them, all these aspects of the self, as an experience of unity consciousness. And how all are interdependent, interrelated, and connected. And they're actually not forming in opposition, they're forming unity. They're forming a solid grid, which we are focused on anchoring right here and now. And again, we visualize a golden cross and stepping into our Christed self, to the Christed consciousness, as a perfect master of all polarities, as a strong embodiment of divine light, as a pillar of divine love. This is who we are. I greet you in that unity consciousness awareness. My beloved ones, take care. I'll talk to you soon when I can, when I'm guided, and so much bliss.